So tomorrow's game, you know, last week was rough for us. We didn't perform the way we expected. We gotta get our running game going. This was no Brees Hall, you know, made some mistakes up front. We were really close a couple of plays. Defensively, guys showed up, played well. So we gotta give a tremendous effort. Hats off to Coach Haycock. He does a great job with that unorthodox defense. He likes to run, but it works. So with that being said, we got the Hawkeyes this week, in-state rivalry. I don't think you can use the word hate enough. Preparing, great week of practice. I'll take any questions you guys may have.
I got a quick question. Here 2 years ago for game day, talk about the atmosphere here for game day 2 years ago and what you're expecting tomorrow morning.
If I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago, was it like rainy and kind of like nasty? Yeah, so, you know, that's what I remember. Yeah, but they came because, you know, the Midwest, they support their football team. That's one thing. I'm a Midwesterner, and we love our football. We love our football team. So I just think tomorrow's going to be, after everything everyone's dealt with the pandemic and all, I think that, and not that it's over, but obviously we're having fans and stuff now, so they got the green light to come. I'm sure they're going to show up and show out tomorrow. I'm expecting a huge turnout. I'm expecting a lot of energy. I don't know if you guys saw the show a week ago. We were in North Carolina, Charlotte, and it was called a neutral site game, but you would never know it because the turnout was magnificent. So expecting that, you know, especially with the weather being like the way that it is, so I'm looking forward to a great turnout and a lot of energy tomorrow.
I want to know what it's going to be like for a player. I mean, you played your career in a bowl. I doubt that there was a whole lot of wind coming into there. What's it going to be like as a player on the field tomorrow?
I mean, specifically, you said a bowl and wind. It's supposed to be windy because I don't know.
I mean, when you played, your field was in college. The field was down,
right.
And so I don't imagine there was a whole lot of breeze coming down into that field. Maybe there was. I don't know. But what's it going to be like out there? It's going to be the field's going to be over 100 out there. I mean,
you talking about the heat?
The heat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna get hot, but you know both teams got to play in it, so we don't complain. As a player, you just go out there and play. You know, the other team has to play in it too. So that's just the way I look at it. That's the way I've always looked at it. I played in the most extreme weathers, and I played in Green Bay. It's cold as shit in Green Bay, you know. So, but the other team got to play in it too. So that's just my approach as a player. That you know whatever we're dealing with, they're dealing with. So whoever can be mentally strong enough and deal with the elements will probably succeed or probably experience a certain level of success that can help them be triumphant.
What makes this matchup intriguing to you?
Well, it's an in-state rivalry, first of all. Second of all, it's just different conferences. You got the Big 12 and the Big 10. So, and there's always some close-knit games. I mean, that's what makes a rivalry a rivalry. You know, you have some hard-fought games that come down to the end, and you know, there's a lot of respect though for both programs. Obviously, Coach Ferns has done a fantastic job with Iowa, and Coach Campbell has done a great job with Iowa State. I've been watching him since he was at Toledo. I've been fortunate enough to call some MAC games, so I've been really aware of Coach Campbell and his style of coaching and what he brings before he came to Ames.
You got to play in some of the most iconic rivalry games of all time during your college days. Were you aware as a player just of Iowa State, that rivalry, and then coming here 2 years ago and really getting to see it firsthand? What was the takeaway given all your experience with, again, those rivalries that define college football on your side?
I thought that that this rivalry would compare with some of the big rivalries. I mean, you know, you have everything that you can ask for. You get, anytime it's in-state and you have teams who are highly ranked like this, and obviously, you know, the Hawkeyes are a team that's been respected in the Big 10, and the Cyclones is a team that's been gaining so much respect, not only in the Big 12, but I believe nationally too. And that just adds fuel to the rivalry and makes it that much more special.
Speaking of the Big 12, what are your thoughts? You know, today finally it's all official now. What are your thoughts on what those four teams will bring to the Big 12 and
you know, I just think that this realignment thing is interesting. We've got to keep an eye on it. I don't really have a strong feeling one way or another about the teams.
Desmond, 1991, first play from scrimmage. Do you remember that play in Kinnick against Iowa? 52-yard reverse. Crowd was sold out. I think the defense was calling out reverse and they couldn't hear themselves. So what do you remember from that play in that game?
Wow. Did you do play-by-play that day?
Coach Don Patterson's on a podcast of ours, and he remembers that play vividly.
It was, man, you know, I remember just like you just called it. You know, Coach Moeller, you know, wanted to start off with a play like that. And I think what you do is because in a game like that game, because you have a fast-growing defense and people are going to be excited, just like tomorrow in this stadium. I mean, these kids are going to be amped up for this game. Defensively, they can't wait to get to the ball, you know, on the first snap. So what you do is you try to use that against them. If you have the hoopers to call a reverse, you know, early like that. And obviously he did, but you try to use their aggression against them if you can, and that's what Coach Moeller was able to do. So we were able to capitalize on their aggression defensively.
Who are a couple guys you're excited to see in person on the field, that kind of stuff tomorrow?
Well, I'm hoping, and you guys probably know more than I do because you live here, that Charlie Kolar is going to play at the tight end position. From all reports that I've seen, it seems like, you know, he's going to get the green light, and I just think that the Cyclones offense just operate at a different level when Kolar's in the game, and you know, I thought they missed him last week, so he's a difference maker, not only in the passing game but as a blocker too. Yeah, I believe he's Brock Purdy's security blanket. You know, he's just a guy who he has like chemistry with him. They played a lot of snaps together, so he knows he's going to be where he's supposed to be. And when you have that, it's just an air of confidence that you can play with on the field. So to see their offense with Charlie playing would be something to look at. Obviously, you know, passing situations, see what Brock Purdy does, because the Hawkeyes, they got some ball hawks back there. I mean, they showed a week ago that they can be very aggressive in the secondary. And they got some guys who will take some risks, and they play a type of defense, though, that they can keep an eye on the ball. They don't turn their back to the ball often. So that actually helps you, too, become even that much more aggressive as a defensive back. So those are some of the matchups, and obviously, you know, Breece Hall. We do a preview show before the season starts. It was week 0 for us. We're in Atlanta. And the preview show, we do our predictions. And one of the predictions that I made was that I thought that Breece Hall would be, you know, a finalist for the Heisman. And obviously he didn't start off strong, but, you know, there are a lot of games left to be played. And when you play on, I mean, tomorrow's like a Heisman stage. Last week, it's not. Tomorrow's a Heisman stage. And if he's going to be like one of those guys who, you know, gets a trip to New York, when it's all said and done, then that happens tomorrow for me as a voter. There's nothing really he could have done last week to like, oh man, no. Tomorrow against Iowa, that's the big stage.
How different is this place to you from a physical standpoint, just to keep adding facilities? They've got the Sport Fulfillment Center complete back there. What does that say about, I guess, where the program's at, that they keep adding, things infrastructure-wise?
Yeah, so when you see a program that keeps adding, buildings, they upgrade their facilities, it lets you know that they're experiencing a certain level of success. And, to me, it hats off to Coach Campbell, his staff. They've done a really good job of bringing the type of play that he wants to bring to Iowa State, to Ames. The type of players that he wants to bring and the style of play. I think that it matches his personality. Like I said, I've been a fan of his since Toledo, and I think that there are parallels with his style of play and the way they've adopted his philosophy, and it's been successful so far. And I think they're going to continue to be successful. They just want to take that next step. Now they want to win a Big 12 championship. That's the next step for them. So, but when you start to see, buildings pop up around campus, it lets you know the football program's doing great. So it's good. It's great to see it because he's a guy who, like I said, I've been a fan of his since Toledo, so you kind of root for him to succeed.
Thanks, Desmond.
Thanks, Desmond.
Thanks, Desmond.
Fancy thing. I'm sorry. I would have dressed up or something. Like, you're fine. You're fine.
Holly, take us down on the field. The atmosphere for a game like this, especially a rivalry game, and amped up because game day's here.
It's going to be insane. I just hope you all are prepared for the insanity because, number one, I think it's excitement for being back to some normalcy and having a full stadium and capacity. But then you add a rivalry game on top of it, and then you add a top 10 ranking for both teams. Never happened before in the history of this rivalry. And then you add the expectations that Iowa State's about to have. This is a program that has never been here before. And I was at practice yesterday, and Matt Campbell got the guys all together after practice, and he said college football is about who can win the moment, but you never know when your moment's going to come. And so I look forward to seeing if they can be ready for this moment that they haven't been in before and achieve it.
Holly, what's it mean for you to be on the sidelines this year and doing this type of visit?
It's really cool for me. I don't think you guys can understand how cool this is. So the last time I covered a Matt Campbell game where he was on the field and I was on the field, he was playing for a national championship for Mount Union. So I feel like, the old Drake lyric, we started at the bottom, now we here. That's me and Matt Campbell. We talked about it in practice yesterday. Look at us. Oh my gosh. We both have come such a long way. So I just think it's awesome. It's totally cool.
Was that 2001 by chance?
I did two of his national championships, 2000 and 2001.
That was 9/11.
Yeah, I did two of them. And he played really well. Yeah. He was a good linebacker, number 89, and he was a terrific player.
How does experiencing Hilton's atmosphere prepare you for tomorrow?
So I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be very judgmental tomorrow because I will be comparing it to Hilton, Iowa State versus Kansas in the heyday. You guys know very well, you've been in those moments with me, that it's chaos, and I can't wait to see if this feels the same or how this compares, because Hilton Magic is the real deal. I believe in it. I've lived it. So I'm waiting. What do we have a nickname for Trice? Trice is nice. I don't know. What's our? We need a fancy Hilton Magic nickname for Trice, or maybe they have to earn it tomorrow. I don't know.
So what have you learned about this rivalry over the last week? I know you stopped and talked with Caitlin Clark while out in Iowa City. You've got a little bit of a crossover there with Blake on the football team, that kind of stuff too. What have you learned about this rivalry?
Well, okay, it's so fascinating because every time I come to Iowa, I'm just always blown away by how nice people are. And it's just oh my gosh, the Iowa people are always so kind and loving. The Hawkeye fans are so great to me. The Iowa State fans are so great to me. And then I see Twitter and social media, and I realize they're just not nice to each other. So Iowa State fans are the nicest people in the world unless they're playing. So that's what I've realized. I think hate week is a real description. And I had a good visit. I flew in early. I flew in Tuesday night at midnight so I could go and drive out to Iowa City and be there for practice at 8:40 Wednesday morning because I wanted to hit both teams. This is a close way to do it, so I wanted to put in the extra effort and do that. And it was awesome to be able to experience that. Iowa looks good. I mean, their offensive line is really young and inexperienced for them, and yet they look amazing. So I can't wait to see how this unfolds. But Caitlin Clark was a great story. I was like, where are you going to be? She's going to come to game day. And I was like, where are you going to be sitting? And she's like, well, I'm sitting with the Iowa State people. I was like, what? She's like, well, my brother plays there. You know, he's the holder, Blake. So then I saw Blake at practice yesterday, and I said, who's the better athlete between you and Caitlin? He's like, come on. It's not even a question. I am. And he said, just ask her who wins the one-on-one game. So I will have to follow up on that with Caitlin.
I don't know whether you still do or not, but living in Utah for a while that you did, what do you suspect that the BYU fans are thinking about right now, the whole Big 12 thing?
I think it's awesome for BYU. You know, I always mourn the old WAC days. I came up covering Air Force, BYU, Utah in the old WAC days when the WAC was the premier conference in this country. And I've been sad ever since that split up and all those great natural rivalries split up. So for me, it's a big deal. I grew up as a lifelong BYU fan. If you guys need to know any history about BYU, I'm here for you, my Big 12 brethren and sisters. But BYU is a huge deal. They're a big program, and I started my career working for BYU football and BYU television, and we had 63 affiliates around the country that would carry BYU football games every Saturday, and this was 30 years ago. So I personally know the national interest in BYU is a huge deal, and I just wish we would have added them sooner to the Big 12, to be honest with you. I know they vetted them a couple of years ago, and I wish they would have added them then. I'm curious if BYU and maybe Houston would have been added then, maybe we wouldn't have fractured like we did. I'm saying we because I'm a Big 12 girl, you know, I love it. I've covered it for so long, but I hope it makes the Big 12 stronger, and it's awesome for BYU. So I live in Salt Lake City, Utah part-time, and now BYU's in the Big 12 and Utah's in the Pac-12, and I'm like, we're going to get the best teams coming to Salt Lake. So for me, it's awesome. All right, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any good stories for me? I wanted you guys to tell me if there's any good stories that we should be on top of. Like, if you were doing my job this Saturday, what would be the number one stories you would talk about? Can you give me some good ideas? Make sure I'm on top of stuff. Putting them on the spot here.
Trevor Downing, I know, has a niece that actually was treated at U of I hospital.
Okay,
so I know
that's
there's
good.
a tie there. I can't
I'll
remember
follow up
the
on that.
deep dive on it, but I know something we've talked about at our station. So
Okay, I'll follow up on that for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Two of the better centers in the country in this
Okay.
game.
Thank you.
Right?
So I'm a little obsessed with Tyler. I have not seen Iowa State Center quite yet, but Tyler's fascinating. I've got old video of him pitching. You know, like a kid that size. He's a big, strong kid, but he was a really good pitcher, and he balanced summer baseball while he was working out as a freshman in his workouts at Iowa. So I thought that was a really cool story. And he also beat Tristan Wirfs in wrestling.
Yeah.
We got the pin. We've got the video of the pin. So I don't know if Tristan's going to come to this game. You know, he played last night, and I was curious if he'd come so I could get his side of that story. But it's a pretty nasty pin of Tyler over Tristan, which is kind of funny. All right. Anything else? You guys good? Any other good?
Thanks, Holly.
So there's a second string defensive lineman for Iowa that went to Ames High, Joe Evans.
Yes, I followed up on him.
Okay, good.
So I did ask about it, and they felt Iowa State. I didn't talk to Matt about it, but I talked to other personnel people, and they said that he was a Hawkeye kid from birth. Like, his dad was really into Hawkeyes. Yeah. So it's not that they didn't recruit him, they just knew where his heart lay. But he was in on some crucial plays last week. I don't know if you guys saw. He had a major role in one of their pick six plays. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that. That's got to be weird for him to come home and play in Ames against Iowa State. But I guess he grew up a big Hawkeye fan.
His dad was the principal at Ames High.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've spoken to the mayor of Ames, but not the principal.
Fred,
so.
what'd you find him?
That's so funny. Yeah, I get your Ames humor. I love that we understand each other.
For what it's worth, the Iowa City High School and Ames High School are playing tonight at Ames High School.
Really? Oh, did they tweet us? I think they tweeted. Is it here?
Yeah.
Iowa City and Ames here. What time?
7 o'clock.
Can I get special treatment and get like a press pass or something?
Tell them you know Dave Sproul from KASI Radio, and
Okay,
you'll
you get me right in there. Where is? So at 7 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
All right, I got to check it out.
Get there early. There's a lot of construction in that area, and it's a small parking lot.
What do they call that trophy for the
Little Cy.
Little Cy Hawk? Oh my gosh.
Another clever name.
All right, I'll be there. I'll be there. That's awesome. That's so cool. Do they schedule it on purpose around this game, obviously?
It's always the same weekend.
Oh, good. So you guys can all cover both games, and it's a really win for the media, too.
Yeah.
My dog does not like me. Dogs don't.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be back in Ames, Iowa. Here, Conferences, I'd like to announce that I'm not going to run.
What do we got, kids? What do we got?
Talk about the atmosphere 2 years ago in 2019 and what you're expecting tomorrow.
It was a tremendous atmosphere. I mean, this is a great tailgating scene. Got great loyal fans. So it was a memorable day for sure. Our director, Ronnie Perez, got to fire off a cannon, and anytime he gets to do that, he's a happy guy. So we're anticipating a lot of energy and excitement because I think it's a really important milestone game. It always is, but I think particularly for Iowa State, because as good as they have been and as good as the program is, you need to beat your rival. And I think it can really elevate their stature and give them beat Oklahoma. If you beat Oklahoma, you can win championships. But you need to beat your rival. And I think it's a really important game for them. I think that the energy will reflect that on Saturday.
Beyond what you do every week, is there anything that makes a really good show for you? Something that sets it apart from maybe the normal weekly show?
I mean, this is going to sound self-evident, but the crowd. I mean, we prepare, it sound like a coach here, we prepare the same, no matter whether we are, in an empty stadium, as we were last year, or whether we're in Pullman, Washington, where we had the greatest crowd we've ever had. And we hope that this crowd will eclipse that tomorrow. That would be great. But when you go out, or even last week at a neutral site, which are notoriously difficult scenes sometimes in terms of energy and atmosphere, and see just an unbelievable response from the fans, from the Georgia and Clemson fans last week, I mean, it gives you a little jolt of energy. I hope it doesn't make you do your job better, but it does let you feel some adrenaline. And I think it's not dissimilar from what the players will be facing playing in front of a crowd for the first time in quite some time, as they did last week. And, for the Iowa kids coming in here and playing in a hostile environment, in many cases, Spencer Peaches, for instance, playing for the first time. So there's a little extra juice that gets going when you have a great crowd, and I think that's a big part of it.
What do you make of realignments, more specifically what we see with the Big 12 announcement today, adding those 4 schools?
I think it's making the best of a difficult situation. Those 4 schools that they're adding are really good programs, and a couple of them, UCF particularly, with a huge enrollment and burgeoning alumni base that they're getting from that over the years, has an incredible ceiling. Cincinnati, I think, does also, and I think Houston and BYU are certainly, Big 12's already in the Texas market, but it gives you another brand name with some history in the Texas market, and BYU has a very loyal following. That said, I'm not going to sit here and be disingenuous and tell you that it is the same, because it is not. It is sort of like it's a lighter version of the Big 12, or maybe a turboed up version of the American, which is not a bad thing. I'm not being insulting when I say that. It's because you've got a lot of really, really good in this new alignment with this new group, these new 12, a lot of really good, but you haven't got anything in there that's proven to be consistently great. Maybe that provides an opportunity. Maybe that lets Iowa State to take it to, they're already at a really good level. Maybe they take it to another level. Maybe that allows UCF and Cincinnati not to have to answer the questions of, well, you have all of these programs that you beat that aren't quite to the level of the Power 5. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I think it's just as good, but I do think it's making the best of a difficult situation.
How important is it for Breece Hall to have a good game tomorrow? National TV, the national spotlight will be there.
In terms of winning the game, or in terms of being a Heisman Trophy
in terms
candidate,
of his personal goals, and I know his team goals far outweigh that.
Sure. Yeah. Look, you have the only top 10 game in the sport tomorrow, the only matchup of top 10 opponents. If a guy like Breece Hall, who led the nation rushing last year, can come out and go against the defense that was 23 games now, they haven't allowed more than 24 points, and he puts a big number on a notoriously tough run defense, and they win the game, he can certainly elevate his stature. I don't think there's any question about it. And I think from that standpoint, for his personal goals, it's really important. He'll have other opportunities. When they play Oklahoma, when they if Texas is as good as perhaps it looked last week against a good team, if they're that good, there'll be other opportunities. So it's not be all end all, but it's certainly a really important jumping off point if he has for those types of personal goals.
What did you learn about this rivalry 2 years ago coming to Ames? That you knew Iowa State peripherally, but to be here for game day and feeling the atmosphere and understanding the how soaked in the wool the rivalry is around here. What did you learn about it?
It's very much like the other in-state rivalries where the perception is, whether it's real or not, the perception is there's the school of business people, and then there's the more agricultural side. There's the feeling of one side, what's down on the other, whether that's true or not. That's the perception. And I think it gives you a great intensity to the rivalry. And I think that even though they're in different conferences, which makes it a little bit different than some of the other in-state rivalries, you know that this game, even though it's played in September and there are other goals to pursue, that this one is really important. Iowa wants desperately to keep Iowa State where they perceive their play should be, which is they can be good, just not as good as us. That's what they want. And Iowa State fans, I think look at this as a proving ground, and rightfully so. That's when a rivalry, and Iowa State has won. They've won some games, and they've broken hearts over the years at times too. But as we stand right here where we are in this era, Matt Campbell era, one of the brightest young coaches, one of the best coaches, he doesn't have to be the brightest young coach, one of the brightest coaches, period, in the game. They need to win. They need to win the game. And I think sometimes when we cover college football, we feel like we're afraid we're being insulting when we say that, or when you say they need to take the next step, that you're somehow diminishing what has already been accomplished. That's not it. It's really a compliment. You're saying they're really good, and now here's what they need to do to be even better. And so I think that I've learned, or had reinforced, maybe it's a better way to put it, had reinforced the significance and the importance of it to both sides.
Who are you most excited to see play in person tomorrow?
Oh man, there are a ton. I like the pass rusher, so Will McDonald, I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Obviously, I haven't seen Breece Hall play in person, so I'm looking forward to seeing him up close and personal. So those are a couple of guys that I'm really looking forward to playing. I think all of those guys in the Iowa secondary are really good. Obviously, Moss had the 2 pick sixes. Kerner's good. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys, and also I want to see how Petrus handles himself in this environment too. I think because it's always a bit of a measuring stick for a quarterback.
Reese, had the playoff expanded earlier, Iowa and Iowa State would have both had their shot in the past 6 years to be in the playoff. Are you personally in favor of a 12-team playoff, which would include 4 teams getting a bye, and of course fatigue would play a role there in the second round, or are you more in favor of an 8 or 16-team playoff?
Not 16. 16's way too many for right now, in my judgment. But and I have great hesitancy about 12 because of the issues that you mentioned. I think a situation where every team played the same number of games, because anytime you roll an extra game out there, it was like when people say, the example I've always used is, look at the 2010 Auburn team that won the national championship, right? Let's say there was a 16-team playoff, and in the first round, 1 versus 16, let's say Auburn played Troy or whoever, if you were giving a bunch of automatic bids, and Cam Newton sprained his ankle, couldn't play, high ankle sprain out 2 weeks. Why? I like the fact that it's hard to get into the playoff. We are probably close to the time where the appetite has gotten to the point where we need to expand some, but we need to be judicious in how we expand. I've heard all of this stuff about, all of these conference champions getting automatic bids, or the highest ranked conference champions. There needs to be a threshold, or you've got to reconfigure and play your championship game the way the Big 12 does, where you have 2 best teams. Because if you don't, I know it didn't happen, but you had a year, I think 3 years ago, where you had Northwestern, who had lost all of its non-conference games. You had Pittsburgh, who I think had 4 or 5 losses. and I can't. There was one more, but you had 3 teams in conference championship games that had no business being in the playoff based on what they had done the whole season. Well, a ball bounces off a tuba. You know, a guy falls down at the wrong time. You have this major upset, and all of a sudden you put him in the playoff. I like the idea of the best teams, or if you're going to insist on these automatic bids for conference champions, there has to be a threshold. Whether that's a certain ranking by the selection committee, whether that's revamping the way you decide who plays in your conference championship game, whatever it is, you can't have 5 lost teams 1 game away from the playoff. You can't. It's not good for the sport. And I know people say, oh, you know, the Giants got in the Super Bowl. There are only 30 teams, you know, and it's different in the NFL. And so I don't buy that. You've got to have a threshold that the champions must meet, or you've got to make sure. And I said, you know what, you probably still have to have it, because if you get a conference championship game between 2 4-loss teams, why should they have an automatic?
Right.
You know, so I think the threshold's the way to go. Other than that, I don't have any opinion on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reese.
All right. See you guys.
Cory Brada, StoryCounty.News, the voice of college football here at the south side of Jack Trice Stadium here in Ames. And we have a special broadcast for you this morning. I know it is early here in Ames. As you can see behind me, this is Jack Trice Stadium, where it's all going down this afternoon. The Cyhawk game, and of course behind us, the other side of our camera, is the set of College Gameday, which will be commencing at approximately 8 o'clock. But as you can see, John, let's pan over to these students here. We've got a long line of both Iowa State students, and I've got a lot of Iowa fans. A lot of Iowa students have made their way over here. Heard some Let's Go Hawks chants. So it's going to be a great day. We're going to be cutting in periodically throughout the morning, and so we're going to leave this stream going as long as we can. We may boot off for a little bit and then relaunch our stream. But again, College Gameday, ESPN is going to be letting these students in here in the next 5 minutes, because the pit opens here at College Gameday at 5:30. So if you're wanting to head down here, if you haven't already headed down here, you might want to think about doing that soon, because it fills up fast. If you remember from 2 years ago when you made it down here, this town is all embracing for ESPN, and certainly the student body here has done that as well. So again, we are on the south side of the end zone right now. We'll be cutting in periodically throughout the evening. I do want to make all of our watchers, listeners, aware of the various brands that have made this possible. Obviously, StoryCounty.News here in Ames. We cover local news media throughout the county, not just Ames, but all over Story County, of course. Also, the voice of college football. Mark Rogers is the voice of college football. We are streaming live to his main channel right now, so if you're watching there, we appreciate the support. Also, want to give a shout-out to from the Hawkeye of the Storm, an Ames-based Hawkeye sports platform, and the Johnny O Show, our cameraman, and his behind-the-scenes work, everything very much appreciated to make this all possible today. So we appreciate you being here. Stay tuned throughout the morning for coverage here from ESPN College Gameday in Ames, and leading up the pregame to the Cyhawk game, which will start at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. So we will continue with our live stream this morning. Cory Brada, StoryCounty.News, and the voice of college football. Hey, who's got the Hawkeyes today? Who's got the... What time did you get out here this morning?
1 a.m. 1 a.m.
Say that?
1 a.m.
1 in the a.m.
Got done with classes at 3, slept, fell asleep at 6, got up at midnight, here to support the Cyclones. 1 a.m., baby.
So we are live with the voice of college football, all right? Mark Rogers and the voice of college football, along with StoryCounty.News. So what do you expect in this game today? Because you guys got a Heisman candidate, right? Some Iowa State fans would say a couple, right?
Which one?
You got Brock, Breece Hall.
Yo, I was thinking Connor Assalley, Heisman, baby.
How long are you going to make it today?
I got tickets to the game, so I got to at least make it till then.
What about after? Go to bed afterwards? Or?
Oh, the ADHD clock doesn't stop ticking, I'll tell you what.
We got a lively crowd here.
I'm on TV first of all.
We're live with the voice of college football, StoryCounty.News.
Bishop Sycamore is better than Iowa.
Yeah.
Bishop Sycamore is my inspiration.
Iowa.
This is the greatest team of all time. And go Cyclone.
Shout out to Bishop Sycamore. Let's make our way down the pathway here. We see plenty of signs, and the attention here from the Iowa State students is second to none, as you can tell. Anybody who wants to, oh, hold on, let's make it over here. Let's make it over here for a second. All right, we got to look at this sign. We got to look at this sign. Turn it around. Let's turn it around. All right. So, Spencer Petrash.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the original.
Well, my wife thought up with it, honestly. I give her all the credit.
And who put him in the actual dumpster? I mean, this is. This looks like a real picture. Did Spencer pose for this? Or is this? I mean.
You know, truth be told, I think he did. Honestly, I think he did. It's word on the street is. But
What time did you get out here today?
about 3 o'clock.
Because the guys up there said 1, so you weren't quite as devoted as.
More hours of sleep than they did. So.
How long are you gonna last today?
All day, till we sing "Sweet Caroline." Neil Diamond.
All right. We'll continue on the other side here because you notice that the front of the crowd is a lot more lively, and they were the ones who were out here at 1 o'clock in the morning. Isn't that sort of ridiculous? All right. These guys are pretty lively too. I'll give it to them. All right. What you got, brother?
So I took the Hawkeyes +4 because they're going to lose, right? 4 or less.
I think it wasn't the line 3.5, but I got you.
It got up. The Hawkeyes are +4, and I took it because, Iowa State's going to,
So you got money on this game? Is that what you're saying?
I got money on this game.
How much you got on?
A lot. Like tuition. We're talking tuition.
What time did you get out here this morning?
I've been running since I've been up since like 7 in the morning yesterday. I haven't slept since, so we've been running.
It's called dedication.
We
got dedication from the fans, and what do we got here?
My sign says soup of the day for Matt Campbell. We got his soup here. We're serving up Cyclone State soup today. Let's go Cyclones!
All right, Campbell's soup. We saw Spencer Petrash down the line there. This is a pretty biased group. What do you got?
We got one. We don't got a sign.
What's that?
We don't got a sign. But we got one thing to say.
We got one.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
PG-13. Ready? Strictly. 3, 2, 1.
Frick the Hawks.
All right, whatever. All right. We'll see. We'll get down the line here. We're going to see how long this line stretches here, guys. Hey, how do we feel about Ashton Kutcher, the guest picker? I don't like Ashton Kutcher. He's the guest picker for ESPN. What can I say? I see a sign for Seneca Wallis. I think they would have rathered Seneca today. So who was the better guest picker selection, Seneca Wallis or Ashton Kutcher?
Seneca Wallis.
Why'd they pick Ashton?
I had no idea.
He's an Iowa fan.
Yeah, I know.
He's a loser.
It's stupid.
He's just a loser.
You're going to lose your spot in line. All right. We'll see how long this line goes here. We are walking as ESPN is opening the pits now for College Game Day. We got some Hawkeye fans in here. I see a few. Mostly Iowa State, but I do see some Hawkeye fans. So we make it to the end of the line. That was an interesting little showdown here, right? All right. So as you can see here, College Game Day beginning at 8 o'clock. You see the set, Iowa State fans trying to make it into the pit, as well as Iowa fans, and of course the Jack Trice Stadium behind us. So lots to pay attention to this morning. And again, tailgaters, we're going to be trying to make it to some of the tailgaters this morning and get their picks on the game. We'll get you information on the game. Certainly lots of storylines to follow. If you haven't already, and you're an Iowa or an Iowa State fan, head over to the Voice of College Football, Mark Rogers. You might be watching on Mark Rogers' channel as we speak. But check out Mark's work because lots of pregame coverage leading up to this Iowa State game, including a sit-down with myself and Levi Stevenson of SB Nation earlier this week. You can watch that preview show as well through Mark Rogers, the Voice of College Football. And, of course, if you're an Iowa fan, lots of great content over it from the Hawkeye of the Storm and Iowa postgame at the Voice of College Football, which will be directly following the Cyhawk game today
and that will be on Iowa at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. So we will kind of take a breather here, take a chance to kind of catch our breath, and we'll keep this live stream going. We are live here at College Game Day in Ames in lead up to the Cyhawk game. We're stepping over here to the side, folks. My cameraman John and I were just observing. It feels like we've been out here for a long time already, and like it's freaking pitch black. Like I'm trying to figure out like when does it get light? It's pitch black out here, and so it's still very early in the morning. We do appreciate everybody getting up bright and early for us. We are going to be, again, walking kind of around the stadium. It's still very early in the day, though, and so but this is College Game Day. You see the pit that is open now, and the ESPN staff letting ISU students one by one into the pit. And I cannot imagine, some of those students we talked to just a little bit ago were out here at 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning. That's literally waiting out here for, what is that, 7 hours just for the show to start. And then, of course, what everybody wants to see is the final stretch right before the celebrity picks and, of course, the Corso headgear pick. So devotion from these Iowa State students. And there were a lot of Iowa students. So if you're an Iowa fan listening, there were a lot of Iowa fans towards the front of the line. So there should be a good presence on College Game Day this morning from Iowa fans and Iowa students that made it out here bright and early. So, again, it's just, it is great. It's great to have game day back here in Ames. It's great to have, obviously, this Cyhawk game. And for anybody who is watching who lives in a different part of the country, I'm biased. I'm an Iowa guy born and raised, but the Cyhawk game is done like none other. And this season, this game specifically, is the biggest game in the country this week. So it's going to be fantastic. 3:30 p.m. on ABC. I want to run through some of the keys to this game. And, of course, if you've been following Mark Rogers at the Voice of College Football or Iowa at the Voice of College Football, along with From the Hawkeye of the Storm on YouTube or through our podcast, you will have gotten a lot of our pregame analysis already. But as far as keys to this game, I know it's early, but let's run through some of the bigger storylines heading into today's game. Obviously, the quarterback position is going to be a position where people are intrigued to see what Spencer Petras brings. I mean, this is the first time Spencer's ever played in front of a crowd. Let's remember that. An away crowd. Of course, he played in front of the Kinnick crowd last Saturday, but this is the first time that Spencer will have played in front of an away crowd. And what a way to start. A hostile crowd in Ames, and it's kind of a wild card. Of course, Brock Purdy didn't play great in 2019 against Iowa, but that was his only real chance to play against Iowa. Of course, last year the game was canceled because of COVID. The Big Ten shortened its season by canceling the non-conference. And so the quarterback position is going to be an interesting one, Petras versus Purdy. Of course, the running back position, probably the biggest star-studded matchup in this game. Breece Hall, a potential Heisman candidate, certainly a Doak Walker Award candidate, along with another Doak Walker Award candidate in Tyler Goodson. And Breece was sort of underwhelming last week. I think the entire offensive line for Iowa State played kind of poorly against UNI. If you watch that game, it was an ESPN Plus game, but not a whole lot of offense in that game. It was a 16-10 win over the Panthers. And Tyler Goodson had one big run against Indiana, and the offense kind of sputtered. In fact, ended, I believe, with 99 rushing yards on the day, and 56 of those were on one run early on. So the running back position will be key. Can this offensive line for Iowa create space? Right now my feeling on Iowa is they have they're sort of in a precarious situation. They're rotating a lot of guys in at offensive line, 6, 7, 8 guys. That's not a very much of a Kirk Ferentz thing to do, but they are doing it, and that tells me that not a lot of faith right now, at least in the centerpieces. I shouldn't say center. There's a lot of faith in the center, but there's not a lot of faith in the continuity of this offensive line right now. And, of course, Iowa's still down Kyler Schott at guard, so that's a key as well. But so many storylines to talk about today. Special teams were terrific, I think, last week from both Iowa and Iowa State. Charlie Jones for Iowa looks like he is going to be healthy. We expect him to play today. Have not heard anything contrary to that. And that's really, as far as injuries, the only significant one is the Kyler Schott injury, and, of course, Charlie Jones expected to play. It sounds like Charlie Kolar, star tight end for Iowa State, is going to play as well. So we'll continue to cut in periodically. We're going to jump away for the moment, but we'll be back with live coverage from outside Jack Trice Stadium here at the site of ESPN College Gameday and lead up to the big Cyhawk game in Ames today. So thanks for tuning in bright and early. Hang around here, whether you're watching here locally in Ames on StoryCounty.News, or if you're on the Voice of College Football, Mark Rogers and the Voice of College Football on YouTube. Keep right here because we'll cut in periodically live throughout the morning. Cory Brada for StoryCounty.News and the Voice of College Football. All right, we are here with former Cyclone and NFL quarterback Seneca Wallis. Obviously, we're here because it's Iowa State, right? And we'll talk about that game. I want to get your thoughts on that in a moment. But talk about what it's like being back in Ames for our Story County listeners. Ames was a home for you, and I'm sure it still holds a special place in your heart.
Absolutely. Well, my good friend, she called me and asked me to come up and do an appearance here on game day. I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. There's a lot of love here, especially, going all the way back to 2001 and 2 when I played here. And so it means a lot for me to come back and still, 18, 19 years later, to still feel that same love and compassion from the fans. It means a lot. So, and obviously me being a business owner here in the state of Iowa, I got a Wingstop here in Ames. So I'm here a lot, but I try to come in and get out. You don't want to wear out your welcome. You want the legacy to still live on.
I think it would take a while for Seneca Wallis to wear out his welcome in Ames. But before we get to football, talk about Wingstop. Put a little promo in for your business. Best wings in town, and no offense to some of the other competitors, but talk a little bit about the brand and what got you started with Wingstop.
Well, Wingstop started down in Dallas, and obviously me living in Dallas, I've seen Wingstop, and I've heard a lot of people throughout the years before I even brought it up here talking about how Wingstop was delicious. And obviously I tried it back probably about 15 years ago, and it was a no-brainer for me. When I started seeing the development here in Ames and starting to see the major franchises coming back to Ames, Iowa, coming to Des Moines, it was a no-brainer. When you think about sports, you think about wings, right? And for ourselves, we really are, we put our brand first, we put our product first, and that's what we are really strong on. And obviously with the wings, I don't think there's another wing company out there that can compare to us. Obviously there was an educational piece that had to come along with bringing a franchise like that here to the state of Iowa, because everything's made fresh, hand-cut French fries in-house. The wings are dropped to order and all that stuff. So we had to educate the guests to kind of understand that, hey, when you come and order 6 wings, 12 wings, or whatever, they're dropped, and there's not like they're cooked sitting in the warmer. So that was one of the biggest pieces. But we knew our product would sell. We knew our product was very good. And so Wingstop has been good. We're in trying times right now dealing with labor and cost of goods and all that, but we're making it through.
So again, we're talking localized for anybody who's listening, Voice of College Football on YouTube. You're probably not really in touch with the local Ames community, but Wingstop, I'm sure, has, as you alluded to, had some issues with employees just given the pandemic and everything. So if somebody wants to apply at Wingstop, how can they go about that?
Well, yeah, we always we're willing to take people coming in looking for jobs, and obviously, where we are now, people are probably hopefully going to start going back to work, and obviously you can go into any of my locations, ask for an application, you can apply online at wingstop.com. Obviously, I have one here in Ames, I got one in Ankeny, I got 2 stores in Des Moines, and I hate to say this too, well, no, I don't hate to say it, but I'm over in Coralville now. I opened up in Coralville about 8 weeks ago, and I got one in Cedar Rapids. So, trying to put my Wingstops in the right locations throughout the state of Iowa. And I'm blessed enough to own the whole state for the most part as far as the territory goes. And hopefully get to around 10 stores.
So you're able to, if you walk in the local Wingstop here on Duff Avenue in Ames, on South Duff, you of course see some of your memorabilia, right? What happens when you go into the one in Coralville?
Well, there's no stuff there at that location. You want to do it right. I mean, obviously, for fans here and people living here in Story County or living here in Ames, obviously, you don't want Tim Dwight coming over and opening up a restaurant here in enemy territory in Ames, right?
I wouldn't mind that.
Well, for you, because you're a Hawkeye. But for everybody else, we're providing a product, and it's about the product. It's not about me per se, but obviously at my flagship store here in Ames, you get to get in there and experience. I got some stuff up in there, some jerseys and helmets, and a great wall that has my signature on it, and different things like that. So I had to do it at the flagship store. That started it for me. But over in Coralville, it's all about the product and just pushing the product.
I think Tim Dwight would probably have solar panels here. I think that's what he's into, right? So let's talk football, right? What is your most memorable moment, first of all, as a Cyclone, and then what's your most memorable moment? I mean, I think of the run, as most Cyclone fans are aware of and remember vividly, but what's your greatest Cyhawk memory?
I definitely have to be beating Iowa down there, no offense, but, beating Iowa down there at their place. It was a huge win. People love to keep talking about it. We're 20 years later, or however long it's been, and we're still talking about the comeback down there in Kinnick Stadium. And so it was a big win for us. I think it's something definitely in the record books for Iowa State football and for the rivalry between us and Iowa. So it means a lot. That game was one of those games, especially my senior year, that kind of catapulted us a little bit and kind of got us that recognition that we needed as well. So that definitely is one of my biggest memories. Obviously, we're talking about now, I think today is September 11th, if not mistaken, but we had the game that got postponed my junior year, and I had to play it right after Thanksgiving. And so that was a big game as well. But obviously today is going to come down to, when you're talking about the matchup, the two teams together, obviously whoever can protect the football, I think is going to be the team that can walk out of here with the victory.
You see some parallels with Brock Purdy's game and your own, and obviously he's a guy who could scramble. I don't know that any Cyclone quarterback could scramble quite like you could, but what parallels do you see with Brock's game at quarterback?
He has moxie. He plays the game the right way. He plays with a lot of attitude, a lot of energy. Smart kid, obviously. You can tell that on the football field. So he's going to give his team a chance always, and especially as what Matt Campbell has done with them, just making sure ball control is important, not turning the ball over and doing careless things. And so he's learned throughout the process, but he's become one of the great quarterbacks here to come through Iowa State, obviously being a starter for 4 years. Much is expected of him this year. But I think he's a kid that's willing to take on that challenge. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen today.
And we do have some fans lining up to talk to you, so I don't want to take more than a couple minutes more of your time, Seneca. But Breece Hall, I couldn't not go on this interview and talk about Breece Hall, many considering him a Heisman candidate, certainly a Doak Walker Award candidate, but you've got another Doak Walker Award candidate in Tyler Goodson. This is going to be a star-studded matchup at tailback today. So give me kind of your predictions as far as this game. Give me a score. I know you're going to probably pick Iowa State, but give me a score.
Well, obviously, when you're talking about both running backs, it's going to start up front, offensively and defensively with the offensive line and D-line too. Whoever can control the trenches is going to obviously give us an opportunity, or give Iowa an opportunity running the ball, keeping it balanced. And so, obviously I got to take Hall in this matchup. And I think today, these matchups against Iowa has never been a high-scoring game, right? The last couple years, again, I'm going to go back to it. Iowa hasn't turned the ball over since 2014 in this matchup. And we made a mistake 2 years ago, muffed a punt there down the stretch. So I think it's going to be 21-14 us, of course. But, we got to get a turnover. I think we got to generate one on defense, obviously, or on special teams at some point. But definitely going to take Hall in this matchup and take us 21-14.
Some vulnerability from Spencer Petras. You would probably agree with that. I don't know how much you watch Spencer play, but you're a former quarterback. He's going on the road for the first time. Hostile environment. That's certainly got to be something that Campbell and this entire defensive unit has to be looking to take advantage of.
Oh, absolutely. You're going against a kid who hasn't played a lot. Obviously, I think that gives us upside. We had Brock Purdy here for the last 3 years, so we're not worried about that position. I think Iowa is probably coming in this game wanting to make sure that they minimize the opportunities for him to make mistakes. control the line of scrimmage, run the ball, be as balanced as possible. So he's definitely going to have a huge target on his back today. And if he can come in and control his emotions, obviously playing in this big matchup for the first time, they give themselves a chance. But obviously we got to get after him defensively.
So Seneca Wallis has Iowa State 21-14. I've got Iowa State 21-20. I think it's going to be a battle, one-possession game. I'm right there with you. So to finish off this interview, best flavor of wings for people at Wingstop. I like Korean Q mango habanero. Are you with me, or you go hotter? There's one hotter, right?
Yeah, there's one hotter. I mean, those are on our hot board. Is not very, we got Atomic. That's one of our hot ones. But mango habanero, I think, is really, really good on the boneless. Spicy Korean Q is one of my favorites on boneless as well. I got Louisiana Rub on our classics. And I like obviously our lemon pepper on our classics as well. But you got to go all flats. If you can do it and you know how to eat wings, you can take that meat right off the bone in one bite. But you got to learn how to eat wings. Oh, my social media. Oh, absolutely. You got to start following me on Instagram. I'm terrible. I'm from that generation that really wasn't into social media at all.
MySpace, right?
I wasn't even in MySpace. I'd never been a social media guy. I always behind the scenes type dude. But follow me on Instagram, Wallis I think it's S Seneca. I don't even know. Seneca S Wallis. There it is. Seneca S Wallis. My wife created my Instagram page, so follow me on Instagram, Twitter, obviously. I think that one's Wallis_Seneca on that one. But yeah, just trying to build my brand a little bit, kind of put my information out there a little bit more. I mean, obviously, as I'm building out Wingstops and doing the stuff that I'm doing down in Dallas as far as the coach goes.
And I love the fact that you got a Wingstop in Coralville, man. That's great. So we got about another hour. Seneca Wallis is here at the Lowe's in South Ames. So if you are an Iowa State fan, or an Iowa fan for that matter, get down here and meet Cyclone great Seneca Wallis and get your picture taken with him, get an autograph, and get his thoughts on the Big Cy Hawk game today. Again, Lowe's until 9 a.m. Central Time here in South Ames. Seneca, it's been a pleasure. Good to meet you, and win or lose, it's going to be a great Cy Hawk game, great environment down at Jack Trice.
Absolutely. Weather's going to be great. Unfortunately, I mean, obviously 2 years ago, rain, storm, the whole nine, game was delayed. But this is going to be a picture-perfect atmosphere. Everybody, if you're watching the game here, or obviously the players on the field, got to hydrate because it's going to be a hot one today. So I'm excited about this one.
And I think about this. You said low-scoring game. You're right. But, the Steel Jance year was a high-scoring game. 2017 was, I think, 44-41. So you never know. This is an unpredictable series, but it should be a good one inside Jack Trice Stadium at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. So, again, Seneca Wallis down here at Lowe's until 9. I'm Cory Brada, StoryCounty.News, and the voice of college football. We will talk to you soon. Cory Brada, StoryCounty.News, and the voice of college football. We are live outside of Jack Trice Stadium here in Ames. I'm joined by, as you can see, an Iowa fan. So there are some Hawkeye fans here in Ames this morning. And, of course, College Gameday is here telecasting live right now on ESPN. But I'm here with Bill Garrison, who is a big Iowa fan, right? You and your crew are here. Absolutely. And I think you're just happy that College Gameday was here, even though it's not Iowa City, not the same thing. But how happy are you to be back out, have game day here, and be able to tailgate?
Fantastic. It's a great atmosphere. The state of Iowa is loving it. Hawkeye fans, Cyclone fans, they're all loving it. So ranked, first time they've ever been ranked AP together when they've played, top 10. It's pretty exciting.
Biggest game in college football, too. There's not another game bigger than this. The Oregon Duck fans and the Buckeye fans, no comparison to this game today. So keys to the game for you. I mean, obviously, Breece Hall, Brock Purdy, everyone's talking about Petrus. Is he going to be able to play in front of a crowd? I question that as well. But the defense looked really good last week, especially the secondary. Your thoughts on Iowa State today?
If Iowa's defense shows up like they have the last couple of years, haven't given up more than 25 points, I think, in 23 games or something like that, we're in good shape from there. The offense is tough, and if we move the ball on the ground, give Petrus some time, that's going to make a big difference.
All right, tailgating. You have got a set up here. I see some Tito's, so you know how to do it right? Right? What else we got today?
Well, we got plenty of beer in there. We've got brats, we've got burgers, we've got dogs. We've got the grill that will fire up as soon as the rest of the crew gets here. And, of course, we've got the satellite dish going, so we're going to watch, here. We might wander over and see the crowd. My wife wants to see Ashton Kutcher, so we might get a chance to do that.
My last question for you, Bill. How did you feel about the announcement yesterday that Ashton Kutcher would be the celebrity guest picker? Of course, it erupted a firestorm here in Ames. I'm not going to take a stance on it, but how did you feel?
It's a bit confusing because the home team is Iowa State, yet Ashton Kutcher is an Iowa fan.
You think it's ESPN trying to throw a little dig in there for Iowa State?
I just think there's nobody else to invite from Iowa State, so they had to reach across and invite a Hawkeye. So
Bill went there. I did not. He's taking the shot. So, Bill, we appreciate it and enjoy the game today.
All right, my pleasure.
Cory, Brada, StoryCounty.News, and the voice of college football. We will stay live here. Thanks, Bill. And we're going to make our way down. Thanks, guys. We're going to make our way down here and see if we can maybe get in touch with some other tailgaters. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of walk throughout the tailgaters and see who we can talk to, get their thoughts on this game. Of course, if you are listening right now, the voice of college football with Mark Rogers, we are thankful for that. We are appreciative of that. We do want to thank everyone who made this possible. First of all, Mark Rogers himself, voice of college football and his main channel. Of course, check out Mark's many different channels, so many different post games for so many different teams throughout the season, including Iowa post game at the voice of college football. So if you haven't already, go over to Mark's Iowa channel, Iowa at the voice of college football, subscribe, and of course, after the game today, and after every game for Iowa this season, you'll be able to see myself and Coach Don Patterson, former offensive coordinator at Iowa. Coach Don Patterson, oh, you are, man. Coach Don Patterson will break down the game and talk a little bit about this game and how Iowa performs. Kind of got a little dead spot here, John. The tailgaters have not showed up yet right here in this area. They are packed into other parts. John, go ahead and pan around. Give our viewers an idea where we're at. You'll see the game day set to your left, John. There's the college game day set. You see confetti blowing. I mean, it's a party over there. If you didn't catch our streams from earlier today, the Iowa State students came out in Eager this morning, and we've got some fans over here. Let's make our way over to this tailgate party. We got some, this is a split, as I should say, household, friends base. What we got here?
Bob, he's missed 4 home games since 1972.
Now, what were the 4 games, Bob?
New Mexico in 1973. My brother got married. Selfish kid.
Why would you do that? Does he not understand priorities?
No, he doesn't. It was being very narcissistic of him to do that. And then I had 2 other weddings, and these brides, they don't get it. They just can't get it. You don't get married on football weekends.
Selfish.
Yes, and then there was another game. I was coaching football in high school at that time. We got rained out on Friday night, and I had to miss a game. And I think it was Oklahoma back in 1980.
Were you the head coach?
I was.
So you're saying the team couldn't have played without you on the sidelines?
Exactly right.
All right, so we've got a couple. You're obviously a big Iowa State, but you allow some Iowa fans, and is this your tailgate? Who's tailgate? This is your tailgate.
Oh yeah.
All right, so why do you allow the intrusive Iowa fans to be a part of this?
I'm a lifelong Cyclone converter. I'm a religious fanatic when it comes to Cyclone football, and I'm always trying to make new converts to the Iowa State way, and that's how. And the only way to do it is to get them in here and work on them.
Well, I'll tell you, Iowa State's wearing all black. You got some black Iowa, so they don't need much to transfer over.
This kid here, he's my nephew, and I don't.
Okay.
I haven't missed an Iowa State game since I've been born. This would be my
I
27th.
I pulled out a picture of him when he was a baby, and him and his dad, and he was in my arms when he was a baby, and I was sitting over here in the stadium.
So I'm assuming your mom did not go into labor during a game because you were 5 months old. Okay.
The mom had enough sense to plan it not to be born during
C-section, right? Was it a C-section?
Yeah.
Scheduled?
Well, it might have been, an early birth too, but just get it spit out and let's get on with it. We got them priorities here.
All right, so you've been to how many different Cyhawk games? Is this the biggest Cyhawk game in your lifetime?
I think the one 2 years ago was big, but when that 5-year streak was broken, I took his brother, his older brother. That was back when Dustin Navy, and that's when Iowa State broke that 15-game losing streak. And I took his brother Nate. We went down on the field, and I took him down there and introduced him to some of the players. Some of I coached, but and that was, to me, breaking that 15-game losing streak was probably the biggest. It was over at Iowa City that year. McCarney was coaching.
Oh, yeah. So, there's so many different connections with this game between the two teams. Obviously, just besides the fact that they're in-state rivals, you think about Caitlin Clark's brother is on the roster, right? I mean, that's a storyline. And, of course, Joe Evans is an Ames High guy, a defensive end for Iowa. So you're a longtime Iowa State guy. What do you see as keys for this game? Obviously, Brock Purdy versus Petrus, Hall versus Goodson. There's so many matchups to watch for, but what do you see as keys to this game today?
The running game, both sides. I think if Iowa State, they didn't turn Brees Hall loose last week. This is the slowest output. They got to get
vanilla.
Very vanilla. And I don't know if they were holding back, but they've been doing that for several years. They start so damn slow here.
Well, I'll just tell you this. I'm an Iowa guy, born and raised, so I'm sorry to all our Story County listeners. I am an Iowa guy, but I'm also a Story County and Ames person. So, but I'll tell you this, that 2019, I remember that game vividly. Of course, I'm sure you do, with the rain delays and just that mess. Iowa State I shouldn't say got away, but they were able to take advantage of Iowa's young cornerbacks in that game. I remember a kind of a trick play to, is it LaMichael Petway, the big receiver for Iowa State? And then, of course, a bomb to Tariq Milton in that game. So I think playing vanilla week one seems to play in. It seems like Matt Campbell's always got one or two up his sleeve.
They'll get it juiced up here, and I expect this to be a game probably going to go down to the last 2-3 minutes. You know, one way or the other. I don't see anything else. You know, I hope. I'm pretty sure Kohler will be playing today. I think they held him out for just precautions, but they didn't use their tight ends at all. One catch last week. That'll be a game changer too. When you got great tight ends, Chase Allen and Kohler, that'll be a big difference maker, getting them involved in the game.
And not to be tooting the horn for Iowa, but Iowa has a really good tight end in Sam Laporta. So you've got a lot of good tight ends, a lot of good backs. Quarterback position is going to be interesting. Can Petrus keep up with Purdy? So good to meet you guys, and regardless of who wins, great turnout today, and good to meet you guys. So, all right. Yep, take care, guys. We'll continue down the pathway and see if we can get in touch with some other. It's great to get the stories, John, of the Story County people, or even the non-Story County people who are here for tailgating today, and of course the big game. All right. All right, we're going to make our way. As you can see, ESPN Gameday. Straight ahead of us, we've got a big crowd of people. We are not able to live stream facing Gameday. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep our cameras pointed in the direction of our walkway, because we are going to walk and find more tailgaters. But again, stay with us here, because along with College Game Day, we are streaming here all morning. Of course, College Game Day available on ESPN. As I mentioned before we began our last conversation with Bob and his tailgating crew, Iowa postgame with the Voice of College Football. If you're a Hawkeye fan or a Cyclone fan or any fan of Iowa's opponents this season, tune in to the Voice of College Football, Iowa at the Voice of College Football, for a live postgame with, again, former offensive coordinator Don Patterson. He'll join us live as well. And, of course, Mark Rogers' many other channels of the Voice of College Football. So many different post games, and so much content. Mark Rogers doing a terrific job. We also want to thank StoryCounty.News, our sidekick today. StoryCounty.News and Voice of College Football teaming up for this exclusive live stream from around Jack Trice Stadium in Ames and lead up to the Cy-Hawk game. We also want to thank, from the Hawkeye of the Storm, of course, our own personal Hawkeye platform, and don't forget the Johnny O Show, our cameraman and our behind-the-scenes video technician, John Orgias. Check out his stuff over at the Johnny O Show on YouTube, on Facebook. You can check out his website as well. And of course, you can follow, if you are local, if you're in Ames or Story County, you can follow StoryCounty.News on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go to StoryCounty.News for the latest from around the county. Making our way to Lot S3 here at Jack Trice Stadium. And we're getting into kind of the thicker tailgating crowd over here. And of course, we're still early. What, this is like, is it 10 o'clock yet, John? 9:08. So we got a long, long ways to kickoff. We got, what, 6.5 hours? And yet, the people have come out here in earnest. This is wonderful to see. Of course, we want everyone to be safe with COVID, but thankfully, this is all happening outdoors. And we are just happy to see fans back. People yelling, "Go Hawks" here. I can't disagree, but we are trying to be as unbiased as we can here. We'll come over here to the Hawkeye crowd. All right. All right, we got a Hawkeye crowd over here. Who wants to tell us what they think of the game today?
Hawks all the way.
Hawks all the way. Who's the big performer today? Purdy, Petrus, Goodson.
Petrus.
So he's going to handle the crowd okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice kid. Very mature. Little. All right, so Iowa State. You're already on camera. Don't worry. Okay. Iowa State today. Your thoughts on the big game? Thoughts on Petrus? Thoughts on Purdy? Where does this matchup fall for you?
I love the guys.
Yep.
Hawks. Go Spencer and go Cody in 73. Woohoo!
All right. So did you say you were dating one of these? Yep. Okay. So you're dating. And he's not playing today?
Yes, he's not playing.
How's he doing? How's his recovery?
Good. Should be back next week.
Should be back next week. You heard it here, Voice of College Football. Kyler Schott will be back next week. Kirk Ferentz, he might not be happy with this. That's good. That's good news, though. And yeah, and I would say if he needs an extra week, they probably can afford it next week.
Yes, we have the depth finally in the O-line this year, whereas 2 years ago when he broke his toe, we didn't quite have the depth, so he was back fast.
So, did you guys know each other prior to your relationship with Cody Ensign? I was going to say, because that would be a really weird coincidence. You both start dating not only offensive linemen, but the two starting guards for Iowa. So he's got to stay healthy. I mean, this line is relying on him and Tyler Linderbaum to anchor things.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Foot massages after every game at home.
All right. Well, it was good to meet you guys, and we'll hold you.
There's a future lineman over there.
Okay, let's talk to the future lineman here. What's your name, young fella?
What's your name? Oliver. Tell him your name. He's a little embarrassed.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, he's got a spokesman here, so let's talk to you for a minute. You were an Iowa State fan. We just talked to a bunch of Iowa fans. We talked to a couple young ladies who are in relationships with a couple of the Iowa linemen.
We met them over here.
Okay. So your keys to the game today, who's your big performer? Is it going to be Purdy? Is it going to be Hall? What do you see today?
Hall, we got Kohler back, so we're just doing our best. So.
How big can Kohler be today? I mean, he not playing last week hurt Iowa State.
But I think it's going to make a difference, get double coverage off of Hall. So we're out for a victory, right?
And this young man's name is Oliver.
Oliver.
And he's a future lineman. And I'm assuming he's going to pick Iowa State. I mean, it looks like we've got some NCAA infractions because he's already got all this gear. So
the build, too.
He's got the build. So, all right. It's too early in the day. You know, it is early. People think we've been out here since like 5 a.m., but it's still only like 10 o'clock.
I know, it's great.
You guys start early.
Oh, yeah.
I admire it.
But this is a great game, so we're excited. We're hoping for a victory.
Great moment for college football.
Absolutely. 2 ranked teams in the state of Iowa. It's awesome.
Great for the state of Iowa. Good to meet you. Thank you so much.
Go Cy.
All right. All right, so we'll continue to make our way around. We don't want to seem biased here. We'll take a left here, John. We don't want to seem biased here. We want to get opinions from both sides. But that was interesting to talk to the girlfriend of Kyler Schott. So I've never reported on anything, John, about a player's injury status based on what his girlfriend told us at a tailgate. But we just got an update on Kyler Schott. It sounds like he's going to be back next week. So, for anybody who was wondering, it looks like Kyler Schott will be back. And Cody Ince, as we talked to his girlfriend, he's a big part of this offensive line. One of the, you can call him veterans. He's a young guy, but he's still a veteran with a lot of younger guys. Connor Colby, David Davidkov, Michael Mislinski, so many different guys. Got some good well wishes here. So walking down the line of the Iowa State tailgaters, this is an impressive scene. They know how to do it right in all of Iowa, but certainly in Ames as well.
Hey, Cory.
Hey. All right, turn the camera around here. We got Mr. Jeff May is here, holding a Coors Light. I love it. I love it.
How's it going?
Hey, you're in Ames, man. This is foreign territory. Are you? I don't know you. Are you a Cyhawk game guy? Or you typically go to Iowa State games?
This is my second time. I went a couple years ago.
Cyclones!
So, yep, it was a good time, especially since, Iowa won.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. We've been talking with some of the tailgaters here this morning. Keys to this game, I mean, can Petrus hold up against a tough crowd? He's never played in front of an opposing crowd, and this last week was the first time in front of any crowd.
I think as long as he doesn't make any mistakes like he did last week, the defense I think is going to pull us through really well. Special teams, I think Goodson is just going to have a good day. He's going to have 150 yards, and he's going to have a good day.
150 yards.
Yep. They're going to let him run loose.
All right, well, he's going to have to do it a little bit more consistently. Of course, last week, the 56-yard run, but I think only 5 other yards in that game. So, but good to see you, Jeff. Jeff's a good friend of ours, and kind of we've had lots.
Hawks, boys. Hawks.
All right.
Tough crowd.
This is enjoyable. Good to see you, Jeff. All right, go Hawks, right? All right. Or go Clones, whatever you prefer. We got lots of excited fans this morning. That's great. Again, I keep saying that, but it is great to see because, of course, last year we didn't get to see fans out here. So, and I think, John, I want to make something clear. People see these shirts of ours, and I think they believe, let's get out the pathway here. I think people believe that these are Hawkeye shirts. They're not. These are our StoryCounty.News shirts. So I want to make that clear. And we got someone else asking, what's that? Did you want to say something? Oh, we've got some bashful Iowa State. We've been talking to a lot of Iowa fans. We need someone to speak for Iowa State. What you got to say this morning? Excited for the game?
Very.
What you got in the tailgate today? You got brats. I see a crock pot. What you got in the crock pot this morning?
I don't know. What's in the crock pot? Meat.
All right. Anything else meat-wise? Yeah. Meat-wise, you got meat here? Hamburgers.
Brats, hot dogs.
All right.
What else? Jeff.
Hey, I love the energy, guys. Keep up the good energy. We need it, right? We need it in Iowa. So, all right. Take care. Enjoy the game. All right. So we'll make our way down here, John. And we'll see if we can chat with some of the tailgaters here who are, of course, getting ready for the big game this evening here in Ames. All right. A little bit more open space over here, John. This feels good. You see the tailgaters behind me. And as we go up and down the line here, plenty of red. It's a sea of red, as they say, or as our friend Will Keeps would say, sea of red. Shout out to Will Keeps, his theme song for Iowa State, Sea of Red. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you listen to your music. And we haven't really had to, John, we haven't really had to
force our way into anybody as far as conversations. Come on over. Come on over. All right.
What are we doing?
All right. I don't know. What are you doing? What are you eating this morning?
I got a English McMuffin and a Bloody Mary. I'm ready to go, and go Hawks. You imagine that?
Actually, it's up here.
Yep, that one right there.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Oh. You said go Hawks?
Go Hawks.
You got an Iowa State. You lose a bet?
Nope. Hawks are winning this game. Go Hawks.
How many have we had so far?
1.5. Working on more, but go Hawks.
All right. Go Hawks. Everybody's. You guys, Iowa State, Iowa. You got some nice polos on today, man. These are polo. This is a nice day.
I like the yellow, baby. You guys got the yellow.
This is not an. These are not Iowa shirts.
Hey, but you got the yellow, little black.
Iowa State's got the black now. Apparently, they've changed their colors.
Wrong color. No.
What's up with that?
Hey, they're taking our colors.
That's what they think.
No way.
Oh, we got another comment.
I got one more thing to say. Hey, we got to let's keep some remembrance for this day, like 2001, 9/11, though.
Thank you, guys. But yes, absolutely. 20th anniversary of 9/11, and far too many people lost that day. And of course, they are being remembered today, and rightfully so. We make our way down into more tailgate regions here, and we see many people with the classic bags game, which is a part of a tradition all across the country of college football tailgating. And so, and the party buses and the campers and their RVs. This is all college football here. I got a bush light and a cyclone being flashed at me. Got a lot of Hawkeye fans here today. This is a lot of Hawkeye fans. A few more than I expected, John, to be completely honest with you. We're going to come through here, I believe. We can make it through the gates here, and just so everybody's aware, we are now, let's make our way through here. We are east. Well, these guys are going to run us over. Right now, we are east of Jack Trice Stadium. So once we can get past the line of traffic here, we'll be able to, let's go ahead and pop up here. We are east of Jack Trice, heading closer to the Iowa Creek, if you know where that's at here in Ames. You're watching on StoryCounty.News. We appreciate it. Share this feed out. If you're watching on Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, share our feed out and help others get connected to great weekly, daily Hawkeye and various college football content across the country. All right, we're going to try to make our way through here. We'll see if people let us go by. Can we squeak by you guys here? Go Hawks. All right, we're making our way through here, John. All right. For anybody who doesn't realize, Iowa fans know how to tailgate. I have to say this, John. I am really shocked by the number of Iowa fans. I really am. Did not expect this big of a turnout from Iowa. So we'll see how many of these fans are actually in the stands today for this game. Because it just seems like I don't know, maybe an abnormally large crowd, especially given the hype around Iowa State. I would expect more of a presence from Iowa State fans. Of course, there is still a very large presence from State fans. But I've been impressed both ways with the turnout so far, and we are still early in the day. I do think people think, John, as we're walking through here, that we're just Iowa fans. Let's get to the side here. People are going to try to run you over. Got to get to their tailgate. I feel like we're getting further and further out here, John. Tell you, we got some bashful fans around here. We didn't really have to approach anybody earlier in the day, but people are a little bit more hesitant to approach us now than they were earlier. People were going crazy earlier in the day.
We are literally like only getting like 900 kilobits per second here, so Cory's going to check the stream.
You know, we're heading back in here into the danger zone because there's not a whole lot. I mean, as we get back here, we're just getting more and more tailgate action, but there's really no way out, John. I don't think we really
we're going to have to come back the way we came. All right. Looks like we are live. I am seeing the stream here, John, so. Well. Yeah. Captain Trips says, ask someone, is this heaven? That's more of something that someone who doesn't live in Iowa should say. I got a question for you, young man.
Yes, sir.
Is this heaven?
Oh, this is heaven.
All right.
This is glorious heaven.
He says it's heaven, Captain Trips, so. We lost everything again? Oh, it says we're live. It says we're live. We're good on this end. All right, well. We are live here at
Dedication. Dedication.
Hey, we're laughing with you, my brother. Combination of both. Combination of both. We're down here in we're down here in a creek bed. We were losing signal where we were previously, so we decided to make our way down here, and now we're in the. Go ahead. You're fine. You are totally fine. You're good. You're absolutely good.
You keep doing you.
Careful up that hill. That is a nasty little hill there. I would, but I'm in the middle of a creek bed.
No better place than the creek.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cory, Brada here, StoryCounty.News, and the voice of college football. Turn around, John. Let's get a picture of where we're at. I don't know if this is, I'm supposed to be an Ames native. I don't know if this is the Iowa Creek, but it's completely dry. Of course, we've been having a drought here in Iowa this year. But we were trying to make our way through all the tailgaters and try to get to an area where there was better service, better signal, because I think we were dealing with a lot of interference up by the tailgaters. This seems to happen to John, and he's got like, how many pounds of gear you think?
It feels like 20 to 25.
20 to 25 pounds. How are you going to get up this hill? Can we do it on the live stream? I think people. Should we try on the live stream?
The camera is at me going up the hill. No, we're not.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get up the hill.
All right.
And then.
Hold the mic?
Well, how are you going to get up the hill if I give you the equipment?
I'm skilled.
You're going to fall backwards, and then our signal's going to go out for good. All right. Let's see if we can do this. I'll try to hold the mic here, John.
If it's a little shaky, sorry.
Yeah, we're going to try to get up this hill, and it's very muddy.
Yeah, that's where we're slipping.
All right, look at that. That was just like cutting cheesecake, John. Like cutting a big, fat, juicy piece of cheesecake. All right. So here we go. Now we're back with the tailgaters. We are back with the tailgaters here, coming out of the woods. Coming out of the woods. Who you got in the big game today, guys?
Iowa. Oh, it's got to be Iowa State.
Oh, Iowa State. We got a divided twosome here. We got a lot of "Let's Go Hawks" chants. We've heard that everywhere. Man, there is a lot of Hawkeye fans here. I'm really. I promise you to our Cyclone listeners here in Story County, I promise you, I am not trying to make this a biased live stream. We are just finding a lot of Hawkeye fans tailgating out here. I'm very surprised by it, but you never should be surprised with Iowa fans. They travel so well, and Iowa State fans do as well. So we're hopeful we can keep our live stream going here. And what you got, young man? You're an Iowa fan? All right, what do you got to say?
Where's this going? Are my parents?
We are live.
We're live?
Oh, yeah. We are live right now. StoryCounty.News.
You don't want this guy.
The voice of college football, Mark Rogers and the voice of college football. We're live right now on his large college football platform. And so we're simulcasting. You've got an Iowa State fan here next to you. Is this a Nate Stanley jersey?
It is.
Of course, there's no name on the back. You need to get in touch with him. NIL. He can. Okay. So would you? Well, actually, it's Dane Belton now.
Who's Dane Belton?
Oh my God.
Put some numbers up.
We're the voice of college football. Who is that? Hold on. Royce White.
This is the mayor.
Is that Hoiberg's number?
Freddie Hoiberg, the mayor of Ames. We need Freddie back.
But was that also Royce White?
This was Royce White, I believe so.
Okay. All right. Hoiberg, is Hoiberg going to be is Otzelberger going to get it done?
I think TJ's going to do a great job, honestly. He's been recruiting his butt off. Keep it PC. He does.
He looks like Frankenstein.
We don't like Luca, but TJ's doing a great job. He's getting a lot of 3-star, 4-stars. I think we're going to have a good team this year, hopefully above 500. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
And Otzelberger, of course, has a history. He's got a recruiting base here already. So got a lot of...
I have one thing to say. Hawks, what is it? Minus 4.5. Plus 4.5 Hawks. Great value. You got to take it. This guy put $1,000 on the Hawks.
I've heard that a couple times today. All right, guys. Appreciate the time.
Nice to meet you.
I'll give you a knuckle bump. All right. We got lots and lots of divided tailgates here today, John. So always good to see that. People start drinking early, John.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So many tailgaters out here. As we are making, we're now southeast of the stadium, so we're just off South 16th Street in Ames. And we got some young people playing football here, and of course lots of bags competitions. It seems like most of the people, it's got to go say that to him. Seems like most of the people who are out here right now coming up to us, John, have had a few. They've had a few, and nothing wrong with having a few. Obviously, you want to keep it in check and not let it get out of hand. And what's that? I've had like 3 people. Let me get on that camera. All right, listen. Got to keep it clean. Why? Because we're live. We are live. Oh. We are live right now. Got to keep it clean.
My name is Jeff.
Voice of College Football and StoryCounty.News. So we're kind of tag teaming this. So you got an Iowa jersey. Is this a B.J. Armstrong jersey?
B.J. Armstrong jersey.
All right, so you're a Hawkeye fan.
Yes,
So what part of Illinois?
Central Illinois.
Peoria?
By the Quad Cities, kind of.
Oh, okay, Quad Cities. So any predictions on the game today? Keys, big breakout performances for Iowa. Who you got?
Hawkeyes by 1,000,000. Goodson, probably 2 touchdowns.
How many yards?
85.
Are you familiar with From the Hawkeye of the Storm?
I'm not.
YouTube, From the Hawkeye of the Storm, and Iowa at the Voice of College Football post-game coverage after the game, live with former offensive coordinator Don Patterson.
What?
Hayden Fryers. You're not old enough to remember Hayden Fryers, are you?
Yeah, pink locker rooms. Let's go.
Former offensive coordinator Don Patterson will be with us live after every Iowa game this season. Iowa at the Voice of College Football.
Iowa at the Voice of College Football.
You got it, buddy.
Let's go.
All right.
Go Hawks, baby.
We need some. I tell you, listen, the Iowa fans have been much louder. We've been going around all these tailgates. Iowa fans have come out. You guys are kind of letting us down. I'm not biased here.
You should interview Llama.
Who's Llama?
Llama right there.
L-L-A-M-A? Okay. I was hoping it was L-L. All right. All right. Opportunity for anybody to speak in behalf of Iowa State. Anybody at all? No, we'll talk to you about whatever. Hey, keys to the game. Anybody want to talk about Iowa State? Anybody? I got all these Iowa fans. I have been around this entire campus, and people, literally, Hawkeye fans coming up to me everywhere.
Well, it's because they have to be on camera because they've never been out of their homes.
They've never been. All right. Let's at least get a prediction out of you. What do you got for the game today?
I'm going to go 17-14 Iowa State.
17-14 Iowa State. How many yards for Brees Hall?
Let's cut her off at 105.
105. And what about Tyler Goodson at Iowa?
0.
0 yards for Tyler Goodson. Boy, if I was a betting man, I would take you on that any day of the week. All right. Good to talk to you guys. Enjoy your bags and enjoy the tailgate. All right. We're making our way through. Again, John, doesn't it seem like Iowa State fans are a little bit timid? So they're subdued. I still wonder if they think.
What are you looking for out of Nate Stanley? It's game day.
He's got to get the vaccine first. He's not going to play. I mean, that's telling the truth. We got a question about Nate Stanley up at Minnesota. I don't think he's going to play, and he's been on the COVID list. Of course, that's his decision, but probably not going to be able to play, given the protocols in the NFL. That's a different story. But lots of Iowa. That's another Iowa fan coming up and talking to us today. So Again, impressive showing for Hawkeye fans. And, of course, a lot of Hawkeye fans in Story County. I don't want to forget that. Ames is primarily Iowa State fans. But if you go even 10 miles to the east of Ames, Nevada or Colo, certainly south of Ames, Huxley, north of Ames, Story City, I think you got more Iowa fans. I think Ames is really the only decent-sized city with any, higher levels of Iowa State fans than Iowa. All right. All right, so we're making our way. We're looking at the clock. We want to get back over to game day. Of course, we cannot be live streaming anywhere near game day during the live cast. So we will be jumping off of our stream at about 20 till. And we got another Hawkeye fan, right?
Let's go Hawks!
I'm telling you, listen to me right now. I'm trying to stay unbiased. I'm an Iowa guy, born and raised. But I've walked around this entire tailgating scene, and it's all Iowa fans coming up to me and being passionate. What's with the passion from Iowa State? Where's the home?
We're better fans, buddy. We're better fans, man. Better team. It's a Hawkeye state, plain and simple.
What's your prediction on the game today?
A blowout. Hawkeyes by 1 million.
Hawkeyes by 1 million, and how many yards for Tyler Goodson?
I'm going to say about 170.
170? Yep. Tell you what, if Tyler Goodson runs for 170, ain't nobody beating Iowa today.
He's running all over them.
What about Breece Hall?
Breece Hall, the Iowa D?
The Iowa defensive line was okay last week. They weren't great, right?
They were phenomenal.
The defensive line?
For Iowa?
Phenomenal?
Iowa's going to shut him down, man.
No, I'm not saying he will. Well, shut him down. All right, now it's time for a little debate. I'm an Iowa guy, but the defensive line last week was not phenomenal.
It was our secondary that killed it.
It was a secondary. The linebackers, I thought the linebackers were tremendous.
Our last seven, our back seven made Indiana one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. What's his name? Penix. Made him look silly. And also, Indiana had a 5-star recruit coming from USC on a transfer. Made him look dumb.
Stephen Carr, yep.
Yeah, I don't know names. You're great with names.
Well, here's the deal. Secondary was dominant. I thought linebackers were terrific. Riley Moss and Matt. Let's not forget about Matt Hankins, Dane Belton. All those guys back in the secondary are tremendous if they can stay healthy. Now, the defensive line was not great. So I think the linebackers, Campbell, Benson, Justin Jacobs, they're going to have to step up against Breece Hall. I mean, it's silly.
We're week 2. We're going to step it up, man. It's Iowa Hawkeyes, week 2.
And
conference game.
We heard from Holly Rowe of College Game Day yesterday, and she told us that when she visited Iowa earlier this week that the offensive line looked really good, which surprised me because I didn't think the offensive line looked very good, and there's not a lot of continuity because they're
only, I mean, are you talking about the Iowa offensive line?
Yeah.
I mean, they only looked really good in the first half. That's about it.
And they're rotating 6 to 7 guys in right now, so you wonder, that's not a Kirk Ferentz type of thing to do.
And also, the thing that also shocked me last week against Indiana is that first play of the game, they went 5 wide. That's, Iowa's power I, old school power run defense. I mean,
very odd not to have a back on the first play of the game.
That was the first thing that blew my mind, was 5 wide on the first play.
So
I think they should just stick to their power I, just run the ball and do what they know best, because I mean, that's what the Big 12 is known. Big 12 is known for stopping mostly the. Who? Oh.
Let's go Iowa, baby! Let's go
I feel like we're in Iowa City. What is going on?
Cyclones.
All right, here we go.
It'll be a close game.
All right, we got it.
I ain't gonna lie. No, I hope this ain't live TV.
You're live. You're live all over the place. What you got to say about the Iowa State Cyclones? Listen, the Iowa fans have been much more vocal today.
Well, we've also been vocal. You just have to go around and see it.
I've been walking around the whole stadium, and I got more Iowa fans yelling at us, telling us to come over, talking about the Hawkeyes. Where's the Cyclone fans? You got to. It's not debatable.
Iowa State yellow, baby.
I know, but I'm just saying it.
It'll be a close game. We'll probably honestly win by a field goal, I think, last minute.
You wore your black shirt today since you guys want to be like Iowa.
No, we're just trying to be like everybody, baby.
It's full-blown debate. Get in here.
Well, it's a common color.
We're trying to bully that Cyclone.
Okay.
Go sit down. We're trying to bully that fucking Cyclone.
All right.
We love it.
We got a friend. Hey,
Go State, baby.
appreciate the time, man. All right. Hey, one more thing I want to mention to you because you seem to really know your stuff.
I know a little bit. I wouldn't say much. I know a little bit.
The thing that I look at as a concern for Iowa this week, it's not so much the offensive line, it's not the defensive line, it's how does Spencer Petras.
I don't like Petras at all.
Well, and I know a lot of Iowa fans agree with you. They don't like Petras, but
We got 3.5-star recruit on the bench and a 4-star on the bench.
But don't you agree? Well, but don't you? That's true. But don't you agree? I mean, there's no conspiracy within the coaching staff. So if Petras is the best guy, according to the coaches, we have to trust the coaches, don't we?
Trust the coaches, yeah, but I mean, there's nothing.
Kirk, man. He's a junior. He's going to play. He's going to start the game and win the game.
Well, here's the deal. Here's my fear of Petras. He was obviously jittery all of last year. He's never played in front of a road crowd. This is about as hostile as you're going to get. So how does he, he looked more comfortable last week, but he's still missing guys. He's still missing, I think, reads and receivers down the field. Yeah. So how does he respond with the, I mean, this is, again, as hostile as you're going to get.
I mean, if they're smart, they'll just don't give anything deep to them. Don't let them chuck it. Don't let them do that. Stick to the ground and pound. Let them dump it off every once in a while and do halfback screens. Do what Iowa does.
I mean, if we got to punt Iowa State, it's in our favor.
That's true.
We remember last time up in Ames. We remember the last time up in Ames punting at the end of the game. I mean, they'll just beat themselves. It's all right.
They'll just be. Listen, again, I'm trying to be fair to Iowa State fans, but if you want to go on YouTube, hilarious video, you'll see that play, right, where he runs into his own man. But watch it with the song "Crash" by what's his face? Who did "Crash" back in the day? Crash. Who did "Crash"? Dave Matthews. There it is. With that song in the background, it brings you joy.
I'm going to play that to every Iowa State fan friend of mine tomorrow on Facebook.
All right, let's hope they get a win today. All right, guys, appreciate the time.
Hammer Iowa plus 4.5.
All right.
We're here for the win and the party.
They're here for the win and the party, and we appreciate the time, and good to have you here, Names. Good to have you here, Names, brother. Cory.
Cory, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. All right. Go Hawks, man. Whatever. All right. Appreciate the time from those friendly. I'm telling you, John, am I wrong? Am I lying about the fact that more people are coming up to us and everybody's saying, let's go Hawks?
It could just be because of our shirt.
We don't have Hawkeye shirts on, folks. These are StoryCounty.News. This is our local news site here in Ames. We cover Cyclone territory. So these are not Hawkeye shirts, folks, but people...
But they're yellow.
Although yeah,
maybe some Cyclone shirts that are yellow.
The Cyclone, yeah, it's the Cardinal and gold. So I don't get it, but it is what it is. We're continuing down the road here, getting closer back towards the stadium. We did have the one Iowa State fan come up to us. He says Hawks by 1 million. There's another prediction. By 2 million. He says 2 million. We got more Iowa alum. And again, I want to state for the record, we are covering this from an unbiased perspective. I've admitted, live on air, I'm born and raised an Iowa fan, and I can still consider myself a big Iowa fan, but I am by no means an Iowa State hater. We have just had more people from Iowa, as far as the Iowa fan base, come up to us today. And are we still doing okay on signal here, John?
It was strong and now it's weak.
All right, well, we're getting...
It goes up and down.
We're going up and down. All right, so we're...
streaming at the lowest resolution we can, so
all right.
hopefully it's going through.
And we got Iowa State fans here. That's good to see. Iowa State fans getting excited. That's good to see. It's good to see. I'll tell you, that environment today, I really do. I wonder about Spencer Petras, his ability to not only handle the limelight, this is as big of a stage as you can get, John. Top 10 matchup. There's no other bigger game in the country today or this weekend. And it's a rivalry game. It's on the road, middle of the afternoon. It's on national television on ABC. So the question is, how do you handle this if you're Spencer Petras, who's known to be a guy who's looked uncomfortable at times? Hey, there he is. Let's go. All right.
You're going to see us at a hot wing eating challenge and a video coming up on the Johnny O Show in a few weeks.
Put a little plug in.
Yeah, thejohnnyoshow.com.
Put a little plug in for our cameraman's
personal channel and vlog, and of course he does lots of fine work behind the scenes, and vlogging and reviews, all kinds of stuff. So we will wait here as we are going to make our way across. Let's come on over. Come on over. Hey, Iowa State fans don't want to talk to us. We've had a shortage of Iowa State fans who want to talk to us. We've got Iowa fans coming up to us from every direction. Iowa State fans, what's going on?
What's going on is the Cyclones are winning the Natty this year.
Natty. Well, they got to get past Iowa first. They lose this game, or can they still make the playoff? They lose this game. I think they can. I think they can. Theoretically, you go 11-1, they can still make the playoff.
We could, but that's not a question today. Cyclones are taking the dub.
All right, now to go away from the Cy game, how do you feel about playoff expansion?
Playoff expansion meaning what?
Well, I mean, do you want the playoff expanded? Do you want it expanded to 6 teams, 8 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams?
Oh, I'm down to expand it. More teams, the better.
And so, any predictions for today? Score, breakout performances, what you got?
I'm thinking 37 to 35.
Iowa?
State.
Oh, Iowa State, okay. All right. We appreciate the prediction, and are you going to the game?
I'm not going to the game. I'm sticking in these lots.
All right. You're here to tailgate. We appreciate that. It's all about what college football is all about. I'll give you a knuckle bump here. All right. Take care, brother. All right. It's a hot one today. It's a hot one today. I think middle 90s by the time we hit game kickoff, right? Yeah. And so the Iowa State guys decided to wear black on a day like today. That's a bold move. It's a secret. It's a secret sauce. Have they ever worn it during the day? They've always been a night uniform. That's a risky move, man. I give them credit.
It's bold.
Yeah, it's bold for sure. Certainly is. All right, let's make our way down closer to the stadium. And, of course, as we get closer to game day, I want to let everybody know that we are going to have to end our live stream for the time being because College Game Day will be bringing on Ashton Kutcher, much to the dismay of many Iowa State Cyclone fans. And we are going to be there for it. We cannot stream due to infringement. And some, of course, ESPN has their guidelines in place. So we will we'll have to jump off here in a few minutes, but we'll keep you here for few minutes longer as we make our way back over towards the College Game Day set. Counting down the hours now. What do we got? Like 5 hours, John. 5 hours till game day, or till actual game day kickoff here at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. So we walked a long ways, John. This is a long walk for our cameraman, and you wore jeans today. I know you're a jeans guy, but you wore jeans in this type of weather?
Yes. People don't want to see my legs, Cory.
That's true. I got some Go State. All right. You got some fans yelling Go State, even though they were wearing Iowa stuff. As we continue down through the tailgaters, and again, back over towards the ESPN College Game Day set. We hope everyone has enjoyed our live streams this morning, and perhaps it's been a relaxing thing to watch a lot of fans enjoying themselves prior to this game. Of course, we really didn't know what to expect. This is we've done a lot of live streams and broadcasts from across Story County and even at the Iowa State Fair back in August, but we have not done it at this sort of an atmosphere outside of a tailgate, and so we did not know how the signal would work. We did not know how the response would be from everybody, but we are continuing to stream live as we get closer and closer to the game day set here, presented by Home Depot, of course, longtime sponsor of ESPN College Game Day. Who are you? I got people. What's he? No, we can't have that on StoryCounty.News. Yeah.
We're just asking who you guys are. What do you got going on here?
I'm like, what are you smoking? I don't know. No, we're Story. He thinks we're Hawk fans, man. I know we've had that. Listen,
Let me teach you a little something about Iowa State colors. Your colors aren't black; they're cardinal and gold. And gold.
They started off as black and silver, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, back in the day.
Why are you wearing red then?
A
head scratcher. Hide the blood.
Can I show you guys something?
Sure. Let's go over and see what they're. Let's see what they're smoking. Let's see what they're smoking here. Come on, Bill. We're gonna see what you guys are smoking. Meat. As far as meat. Knock over the buckets. You hear the crowd, boy. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Whoops! I just knocked over one of your. I knocked it over.
Batteries today at the Casey store.
All right, what do we got here? Do we get a sample of this, or is this not done yet? Is it not done? Ooh.
Amazing, right?
That's a lot of meat.
This was a handmade smoker,
Wow, that is really cool.
but Bill does a great job. We just showed up and are mooching a little bit, but if you want some good meat, Bill's got it.
Wow, and so what else we got besides meat today? I mean, you got a whole spread, as I can see.
Mostly just meat. That's how we roll.
All right, but I see Rice Krispie bars, it looks like. You've got all kinds of chips. And
5-hour energy. It's all you need.
Where'd you guys get your breakfast pizza?
Casey's.
There you go.
Best breakfast.
Casey's Breakfast Pizza.
We attended a little bit of game day, so we're back at the tailgate, but we're lucky to have friends who get to tailgate here.
And you're right here next to game day. I mean, you're a stone's throw away.
Yes.
And how did you guys feel about Ashton Kutcher?
Oh,
A lot of Iowa State fans were salty about it.
I'm not salty because I don't really care, but
Did you have a crush on Ashton when he was younger?
no. I don't know that he represents our whole state, right?
No, he does not. He does not. So I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
His pick already?
Did I what?
Did he take his pick?
No. He was wearing an Iowa hat while he announced it yesterday. Wasn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be booze. All right. Thank you. We appreciate it, and this is impressive. How long did this take you to build this custom smoker? I mean, this is impressive.
Like 2 weeks to build it.
Wow. You could probably make a buttload doing it. It's probably not worth your time, but
I wouldn't want to do that.
Engineer by trade.
yes, engineer by trade. All right. Appreciate the time, guys, and enjoy the tailgate.
Do you guys need a water? Do you need a drink?
We're probably okay. We're about to sign off for the time being.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you. We appreciate it. Go Hawks. Go Hawks and Clones, right? All right. All right. We will stop here. John, as you can see, Jack Trice Stadium right behind me here, and we are, about a half an hour away now from the official picks from Ashton Kutcher, Lee Corso, Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, and of course, the Bear, right? So get it over to ESPN. We're going to leave it here for now. Stay tuned here for the Voice of College Football. Mark Rogers and all his many channels here at the Voice of College Football for post-game coverage, pre-game coverage for so many different schools throughout the day. And, of course, for the Cyhawk game, get it over to Iowa post-game at the Voice of College Football for a live post-game with myself, Don Patterson, Coach Don Patterson, after the game today. And it will be a great time, and certainly ESPN now for the conclusion of College Game Day here in Ames. Thanks for joining us throughout the morning. We'll talk to you soon, recapping the Cyhawk game, which starts at 3:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. We'll talk to you soon.